Welcome back to the Great Wellness Reset podcast, where we break down health in a way that actually makes sense and help you reset from the inside out. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jessica. And today we're talking about something that I think almost everyone can relate to at some point. Doing everything right and still feeling stuck. Specifically, weight loss resistance.
Yeah, the moment where you're tracking your food, you're getting your steps in, you're sacrificing the late night snacks, and the scale just stares back at you like, nope.
It's so frustrating. And what usually happens is people immediately blame themselves. They assume they're lazy, they're cheating more than they admit, or their willpower just isn't strong enough.
But here's the thing, and this is where today's conversation shifts. Weight loss resistance isn't always about effort. Sometimes it's a signal, a metabolic signal. And very often, the thyroid is involved.
And that changes everything. Because when you understand that the body prioritizes survival over aesthetics, you stop fighting your body and start listening to it.
Exactly. So let's zoom out. The body's primary job is not to get lean. It's to survive. When you cut calories, increase stress, reduce sleep, or overtrain, even with good intentions, your body doesn't interpret that as summer goals. It interprets it as potential threat.
And the thyroid is central in that response. Thyroid hormones are basically metabolic messengers. They tell your cells how much energy to produce, how much fuel to burn, how warm to keep your body, how active to be.
So when the body senses stress or scarcity, thyroid signaling can subtly shift. Active thyroid hormone levels can drop. Metabolism slows. Fat release becomes more difficult.
And this doesn't happen overnight. That's the tricky part. It's gradual. You might not have obvious thyroid disease. Your labs might even fall within normal ranges. But optimal and survival mode are not the same thing.
Right, and one of the foundational pieces people overlook is iodine. Iodine is literally required to build thyroid hormones. Without it, the thyroid cannot produce T4 and T3 properly. Each molecule of T4 contains 4 iodine atoms. That's not optional.
And what's interesting is that severe iodine deficiency is rare in developed countries, but mild insufficiency? Much more common than people realize.
Especially with modern dietary habits. A lot of people avoid iodized salt. They switch to sea salt or Himalayan salt, which is fine, but those aren't fortified with iodine. Seafood intake isn't always consistent, and then you layer on stress.
Stress is huge. Chronic stress increases cortisol. Elevated cortisol can interfere with thyroid hormone conversion, specifically the conversion of T4 into active T3. So now you have reduced signaling, even if production is borderline okay.
And then what do people do? They add more stimulation.
More caffeine, more cardio, more fat burners.
It's like pressing harder on the gas pedal when the engine isn't tuned properly. Stimulants activate the nervous system. They don't rebuild thyroid hormone. They don't restore iodine levels. They just override the signal temporarily.
And sometimes that makes the body brace even more. Because now stress hormones are higher, sleep might worsen, recovery declines, and the metabolic conversation gets louder.
That phrase, metabolic conversation, I love that. Because your body is constantly communicating. Weight resistance is feedback. It's not failure.
And I think that's empowering. It shifts the mindset from, what's wrong with me, to, what is my body asking for?
We're going to take a quick break to hear from today's sponsor, and when we come back, we'll recap and dive deeper into how to support the thyroid ecosystem in a practical way.
This episode is brought to you by Wellness One Liquid Iodine, a simple way to support healthy thyroid hormone production. Iodine is a required building block for T3 and T4, the hormones that regulate metabolism and energy. If your intake may be low, supporting iodine levels can help restore metabolic signaling. You can find Wellness One Liquid Iodine at procell.com/wellness1 or search Wellness One Iodine on Amazon.com.
All right, we're back. So, quick recap. Weight loss resistance isn't laziness. It's often an adaptive metabolic response. The thyroid regulates metabolic rate. Iodine is foundational for thyroid hormone production, and more stimulation isn't the answer.
Exactly. So now let's talk about what is supportive.
First, we have to think ecosystem. Iodine is foundational, but it doesn't work alone. Selenium plays a key role in converting T4 to T3 and protecting the thyroid from oxidative stress. Zinc helps with hormone synthesis and receptor sensitivity. Magnesium supports insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial function.
And beyond nutrients, we have lifestyle factors. Sleep is huge. Poor sleep alters appetite hormones like ghrelin and leptin. It reduces insulin sensitivity. It can lower active thyroid hormone levels.
And stress management isn't just a nice to have. It directly influences thyroid conversion and receptor response. Sometimes the most metabolic thing you can do is sleep better and lower psychological stress.
I think this is where people feel relieved. Because instead of escalating restriction, you can support restoration. You can ask, am I nourished? Am I recovering? Is my thyroid ecosystem supported?
And when signaling improves, something interesting happens. Energy becomes steadier. Hunger cues normalize. Fat loss feels less forced.
It's not dramatic, it's not extreme, but it's cooperative.
And that's the key word, cooperation. When the body feels safe and supported, it becomes more responsive.
So if someone listening feels stuck, what would you tell them?
I'd say pause before escalating. Evaluate mineral intake. Consider whether iodine intake might be low. Look at sleep. Look at stress. Look at how long you've been dieting. Sometimes strategic restoration precedes progress.
And remember that your body isn't against you. It's adaptive. That's a gift. We just need to work with it instead of against it.
Exactly. Weight resistance is not a moral issue. It's a physiological conversation.
And when you support the signal, instead of overriding it, things often shift.
If today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love for you to share it with someone who might benefit. There are so many people quietly blaming themselves for something that may be biological.
Follow the Great Wellness Reset podcast so you don't miss upcoming episodes where we continue breaking down health topics in a practical, empowering way.
And if you'd like to support your thyroid foundation, you can find Wellness One Liquid Iodine at procel.com/wellness1 or search Wellness One Iodine on amazon.com.
As always, talk with your healthcare professional before starting anything new, especially if you have diagnosed thyroid conditions.
Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you being part of this community.
Share this with someone who feels stuck. There's hope in understanding the signal.
We'll see you next time on the Great Wellness Reset.